you can't compare it to advertising and marketing. There's no way. So you rather invest in yourself once, just do PR for 1 year and let that stay on social media and Google. When people Google you, that's never going to go anywhere. It's always going to be getting organic growth, right? So you don't even need an SEO specialist because every article that's being talked about you already has your backlink. So it's organic growth, and it's important to do video content. You can't just do publications. Video is huge.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Paycheck. I'm Paula Christine. So I know the past few weeks we've been talking a lot about women and mindset and, women in investing and how to change the way that you think and feel. But I think it even goes even a little bit further. And so I found I'm going to call her like a PR specialist, a branding specialist. So Liana Zavo, and she's going to talk to us about how you build your personal brand so that when you're going out and maybe looking for a new job or even just trying to upscale your job, promote yourself up within your career, how will we go about doing that? So not only for women, it could be for men too. So welcome, Liana.
Thank you so much for having me, Paula. I'm excited. I want to get into the details. And yes, I'm a personal branding expert. I am a publicist. I'm a founder of my PR agency, ZavoMedia PR Group, and I've been in the industry for 20 years. Branding women was my thing, but then I obviously went above and beyond and started branding men founders as well. So, but women is where my niche is because I love to make them feel empowered and elevated in their presence. And it all started for me when I wanted to get my story out there. So it's important to be authentic with your story. And I started telling my story in a very honest way so that I can gravitate towards my community, towards my tribe. Who will be my tribe, right? So you can't conquer all of social media, but you need to hone in on who is really going to resonate with your message. And that is going to be, that tribe that's going to follow you along. So it was important for me to start speaking the truth. I'm a single mom, I'm a college dropout, but I navigated uncharted waters and I've done it from the bottom up, as we say.
So let me ask this question: when you talk about the truth and being honest, like how honest are you, or is it just honest enough to the audience you're trying to resonate with, or is it like completely transparent?
Like completely transparent.
Ooh, that's scary. I mean, we've all got some skeletons in our closet. I'm sure we don't want out there. So,
well, you ask and I shall answer. I'm not an open book, but I think that it's important to be as open as much as possible when the right questions are asked. Because for me, the why I'm so open is because I decided to bring value to my audience.
Okay.
It's so important to connect with your audience in a very transparent and authentic way, right? And if you connect with them in that type of way, then they can feel like they can relate to you, right? It's all about relatability. How can I relate to her and how can she help me in what I'm trying to accomplish? And so it's not the cookie cutter way anymore. It's really about bringing value to your audience. And that's when they want to sign up with you with your services, right? People buy from other people based on an emotional connection. If they don't feel an emotional connection with you, they feel like you're hiding something, you're not transparent, that will create a block. And because that translates into everything that you do, right? So if you are trying to hide something, people can sense it.
So if you're building your story or building your brand to say, go from this career to the next career, are you, I guess, how do you do that? Like, how do you take, like, let's say that I don't even know what to even start with. Let's say that I don't know, pick something and we want to change our career. We want to build our social media so that it's going to help us find a new career. How do we do that? You can tell I'm stuck in my thinking right now.
There's a huge statistic. First of all, 89% of founders are aligned with video content. So if you're not speaking about what you do, if you're not bringing in a fresh perspective about who you are, your passions. So a personal brand consists of 3 pillars, right? It has to be authentic, it needs to be consistent, and you need to have a purpose. What is the purpose? And how can you be consistent with that purpose, and who are you influencing? And so when you're transitioning in between, your message has to stay the same, but it has to evolve as well. Your personal brand needs to evolve. And one, so if you have a very strong personal brand and your message is very, I would say it will connect with the audience on a very authentic level.
Mhm.
So 46% of employees actually get more career opportunities when they have a very strong personal brand and a compelling narrative. Think about that.
Interesting.
When
Yeah.
they're transitioning and you have a very compelling narrative, you will get more career opportunities, speaking opportunities, stages, executive positioning, right? We
Right.
want to position you as an executive, as a thought leader. And how do you do that when you have a very compelling narrative?
Interesting.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that social media and building your brand played such a big part in moving into just even a new career. I mean, I know I struggle with
100%.
it. It's
Yeah.
hard to be consistent. I have people that do it for me, but and are always out there with that message because it does get overwhelming to have to do it yourself. And of course, somebody could hire someone like yourself to do it for you. But it is interesting, and I think it's staying consistent, even though when you're maybe struggling internally to come out with that same positive image, that brand that you want, even though sometimes you have personal struggles that you're going through. Then do you be
It's
honest about that too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I talk about my alopecia that I had an autoimmune disease at age 25. I talk about that because look, if I can talk about my health challenge, then maybe someone can hear and they can learn from that experience, right? I want to build a brand that's vibrant, that's alive, that can speak to others, I want to create a big following, not just because I'm thirsty for that, but because I'm really trying to elevate others. I want to empower others. I want to create an impact. That's my goal. I'm not just a publicist. I'm not just a PR branding expert, but I really want to make an impact and I want to elevate women. So it's important. It's really important to talk about your struggles. And on my podcast, I have a podcast, Unleash the Story Within. I go into like the nitty gritty things of my life. I'm not afraid because this is how I want to be remembered.
I'm sorry, my brain is thinking.
I know it's a lot.
It is
Go
a
for it.
lot. And I'm
A
like,
lot.
am I doing that? Am I doing that? Like, how can I improve? So sorry. I know I'm supposed to be talking to you, but I'm like, all of a sudden my brain is just like
Well,
focusing.
look, if I'm making you speechless, I'm doing something right.
I guess
By the
so.
way, I have a summit coming up on this Wednesday. It's a PR and branding summit. I do a keynote and then I host 8 panelists. They speak about their positioning, how they position themselves because of how they were transparent
Hmm.
about their lives, right? You're divorced. Like I'm having one of a panelist, and what really attracted me to her story was the fact she is a divorcee with 8 kids.
Oh,
Like
wow.
she was transparent about that. So I was gravitated to her story. I said, you know what? I think you'll be a great panelist. Let's unleash that story. Perhaps you can teach others how you got divorced because nothing is perfect. We got out of that culture of perfectionism, right? We're perfect. Oh, I'm a CEO. I'm a perfect. Like that is not the real life. We go through hurdles and that's how we become resilient and that's how we have grit, right?
Right.
What makes you such an entrepreneur? You have to overcome that. And the beautiful thing is talking about it and let others learn about it as well with you and be with you on the journey. Like I'm not perfect by any means, right? But I want people to know that I find perfect, like my messiness is my perfect moment. So that's what I want people to understand.
Messiness is your perfect moment. Yeah, I'm all about messy.
I'm messy as it gets, but I find magic in it,
Yeah.
right? I'm not someone that's going to rehearse a podcast over and over because I hear a little thing back in there, and you know what? I'm just gonna do it as much as I can, and then I'm gonna get it out to the public. Like, look, I will improve, but I'm not gonna stay perfect because that's going to sabotage you. That's going to paralyze you, right?
Oh, yes. If
Perfectionism.
I had to do this perfectly, first of all, I don't think I'd sound like such a dork as I am today with you. But yeah, I would never get it out there because it's never going to be perfect. Never. And I always call myself, a silly dork because that's just who I am. And I love being that person.
Yeah.
And I'm never, ever, ever going to be perfect or even close to it. And that's okay. I'm happy with
That's
that.
the beauty.
Yeah.
That's your personal brand right there.
Yeah.
And then you can expand. Why do you do what you do? Why aren't you so perfect and why are you messy? Where does that come from? What does it stem from? Perhaps your personal anecdotes. So we want to like get that emotional connection from you. And that's what I hone in on. And that's why I'm great at what I do because I unveil and unleash those layers. It's like an onion, right?
Yeah.
I want to know those layers that really makes you so significant in what you do.
Yeah. I think,
There's so many people that do what I do, right?
right.
So many people that do, but what makes me stand out? It's a crowded marketplace at the end of the day. There are thousands and millions of others, publicists out there. So I need to make sure that in this crowded marketplace and very competitive industry, I have to stand out. And the only way you do it is with your story.
How did you get started in this business?
I love that question. My grandmother was a journalist in Russia, so I'm second generation journalist. And when she used to tell me stories about her life in Russia, traveling, and I aspire to be like her. Like, can you imagine in the 60s traveling and leaving the kids behind with her husband? And my
That's unheard of.
grandfather was so progressive in
Yeah.
his mindset that he stayed back. Not only did he stay back, he cooked and he had his own
Wow.
career and whatever he was doing, but he was so supportive of her. And when I heard her stories, I said, I told my mom, that's my mom, maternal grandmother. I told my mom, I have to become like grandma, brash, brazen, and bold. She says, nope, you can't be living that life. You can't be traveling because I barely saw my mom. So she has this trauma, I guess, that she didn't want me to pass
Hmm.
down to and I wanted to have a family early on in my life. So I got married at 18. I had my child at 19, and then I got divorced at 21. And I was swayed from my dreams by my mom. She's
Right.
like, just do something more safe. Why don't you become a doctor? Less traveling, just be more present. Well, or just go. And look, being a doctor is something that is innate. Like I'm a healer by nature, right? I'm a healer. But I said, I am not going to be a doctor. She was a former gynecologist. I can see how much patients take her time and energy.
Hmm.
So I said, I don't know. Is there anything else? Speech pathology. I went to speech pathology. The worst career choice ever. Was so just boring, at least for me. And so I dropped out in my third semester and I went to a really prestigious school, LIU in Brooklyn. And I decided to pursue storytelling in a different way. So I launched my first concierge company at 23 years old, my styling concierge, where I styled women for galas and charity. So when you dress a woman for an event, and men too, so I used to work for top hotels like the Plaza Hotel, the Four Seasons, St. Regis, and they would give me their guests, right? I would cater to their guests. And so when I would shop with them on Fifth Avenue, I used to tell their story by what they wore. So I built their authority right there and then. Right? When you are building a story around a person, it's authority. How do you present yourself? So the very first thing is your positive image. And it all stems from what you wear, how you dress. So for me, when I got on this podcast with you today, I said, okay, what can I wear to make myself stand out? I mean, I always stand out, but I put thought into it. I can't just come out in a little tank top, right? It's
Right.
all about the presence. And so that, kind of like I started working on that positive image. And then, but I always had in the back of my mind, I need to break into journalism. I need to break into PR. I have to find a way. But when I had my resumes out there, I got rejected from all 5 PR firms. They're like, you know what? You're not a college graduate. You have no college degree, but nobody cares about soft skills. Even though there was a recent study on LinkedIn that top 3 things that when you're hired, the top 3 things that you should be looking for are your soft skills. So soft skills, your communication, right? What kind of energy do you bring? How friendly are you? Are you talkative? Are you shy? Like, are you introvert? So those soft skills, are you a go-getter, ambitious? Do you have an entrepreneurial mindset? Those soft skills is something that not every person has when they graduate. But I have that. And actually that matters more, right? When you
Hmm.
want to close a deal.
Yeah. I'd
So,
rather hire that than somebody with a degree that can't communicate.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Or someone that says, okay, well, I'll get it done, and then they'll get back to you after 3 weeks and says, we're still working on it. For me, I have a hustling mentality. Get it done. I'm in New York. Get it done, 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 because someone else will get it done faster, right? In New York, especially, you got to be on top of it. So, and then what happened was I was discovered by my clients. So as I was getting my clients dressed for these amazing charities, one of the other, I guess, people at Berkeley Goodman, she overheard how I made others feel when they were dressed by me. Like when you feel confident in what you wear, you have this beautiful positive
Mm-hmm.
aura about you. So she felt that, and she's, you know what? I love the way you make people feel, and that's your brand. The way you make people feel, that is what you create as a brand. She's like, you know what? If you can make my clients feel after you sell my product, and she has a skincare line, then I will hire you because I know you're going to make them feel fabulous. So she hired me as her media consultant and her product consultant, and she introduced me to her PR firm. And that PR firm I then later hired to represent my family's restaurant on the Upper East Side. So everything just happened to be so. It was meant to be. So I come from the hospitality industry. My family owns a lot of restaurants. And so when they started building out their restaurant on the Upper East Side in Manhattan, we needed a PR firm. And I came to this PR firm that she introduced me to. She says, look, this is going to be my consultant. Anything she needs, I want her to be right here with you guys. So she's going to be the point of contact because she was traveling constantly. And I gave him an ultimatum. I said, look, I'm being transparent. I'm going to have a PR agency. I'm going to open up my own firm, but I need to learn everything from you. They're like, what does this mean? You're going to be our competition? I'm like, look, there's no really competition. There's a lot of PR firms
Mm-hmm.
here. The fact that I'm here and I can actually bring leverage to you, and the very first client I can bring to you will be my restaurant, my family's restaurant. I want you to do PR for us. So it's bringing high net worth individuals was a win-win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I gave them that. They gave me everything I need to know about PR, foster relationship with journalists, learn the ins and outs for a year and a half. And I told them, thank you so much. I brought them a lot of clients. I got my commission. I got my incentives. And we parted ways. And that's how I got my start in PR.
I love your personality. You can tell no matter what you're going to go after, you're going to achieve it.
Thank you.
So I wrote down something that really resonated with me. It says the way you make people feel is your brand. And I've been thinking a lot about my own brand, and my girlfriend's trying to open up a business and thinking about her brand too, is that if people resonate with who you are because you're open and transparent and honest, and they feel that they can trust you, no matter what product or service that you're offering, they're just going to feel so warm and welcome. And I don't know, it seems like, sorry, you just got my brain going right now. I feel like I can't even put a sentence together because now I'm just trying to think about the things that I need to work on in myself.
Yeah, I would love to, talk about strategies that can be implemented in your personal brand because it's just so important to get it out there. As the more people can relate to who you are, like you said, they're gonna feel that fuzzy feeling like home. Like, it's like I know I'll be. At the end of the day, we all want to feel safe with our choices.
Right,
We want to feel that we made the right
right. That's a
choice.
good word, safe. I like that word.
Picking the right partner, making the right business relationships. Do I feel safe with that person? Will I get scammed? What is
Right,
it that I'm going to get out of this? And you can only imagine if I'm so honest about my story, I'm not running away anywhere. I'm here. I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to make sure because this is my reputation on the line as well.
right.
I make sure that if I'm elevating your online presence and your reputation with your story, that's my reputation on the line because the more you tell people, this is what she did for me, that's what it
Now,
takes.
do you do this like for any type of business, or is it more of the service industry, or is that who
Yeah,
usually uses
service.
that needs to do their brand and
Thought
storytelling?
leaders, like you too, thought leaders, service-based industry. So my clients are attorneys, medical professionals, fintech experts, AI consultants, anyone that needs thought leadership, anyone that wants to stand out with their message. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to invite you to a panel and you can be a subject matter expert, what are you going to talk about? That is your thought leadership. And I convert leaders into thought leaders. You're a leader, yes, but I want you to become a thought leader so you can be insightful so that when I bring you into the press and media, that you will have a mention. Paula was mentioned in fintech. I'm just
Hmm.
throwing it out there, or financial industry, something that will actually captivate the audience. And this way they can trust you because PR is the only promotional tool that gives you that trust factor. Marketing does not, right? As you know, marketing is distributing that trust factor among different channels, right? If you don't have that trust factor, what are you distributing? Advertising is literally plastering your face on a billboard, or you're doing ads, or you're doing some sort of campaign that people know you paid for it. But not everyone understands the concept and significance of what PR can do. The fact that I can get you into a publication and they talk about you, that means you've been vetted.
So what if you
It,
took this concept of branding and PR to not like a corporation or not a thought leader? Let's just say that it's a nurse, just a general, not that a nurse is general, but how does someone who wants to build their image, I just want to say like the normal person. Not-
I have nurses as my clients as well.
yeah,
And
but
they
how do
just,
you just do that on like, somebody who's not going to hire a PR person? Like, I think is it important for everybody to be building their brand and story? Just just the regular normal person who's just going to their job every day but wants to maybe further themselves in their career but isn't going to hire a PR person to do that.
right. If you don't have the funds to invest, I would say, then start with doing simple videos. So, as I mentioned before, 89% of founders or anyone that's watching you on social media will be aligned with video content. So, just do videos. Start getting on video, create a YouTube channel. Talk about things that you are great at, your passions, what really makes you unique in your industry. If you don't have, and I have to tell you, I want to dispel the myth of PR being so expensive. It's not. On the contrary, it's actually less expensive. It's the most cost-effective promotional tool compared to marketing
Hmm.
and advertising, because you know the deliverables you're getting. You know that this trust factor that you're building is so authentic that you can't compare it to advertising and marketing. There's no way. So you rather invest in yourself once, just do PR for 1 year and let that stay on social media and Google. When people Google you, that's never going to go anywhere. It's always going to be getting organic growth, right?
Hmm.
So you don't even need an SEO specialist, because every article that's being talked about you already has your backlink. So it's organic growth, and it's important to do video content. You can't just do publications. Video is huge.
Yeah, we are in a video in a world today. Everything is video. And it's
Yes.
yeah, it's getting over that comfort zone of, looking at yourself on.
Yeah. Stepping out of that comfort zone
Yeah.
is so important. And that's what I talk about in my book. It's the one word acronym. It's a framework that I've created for founders and professionals and 9 to 5. Whoever works 9 to 5, they want to get out of that. Because look, even the 9 to 5, the employees need to build their online presence, because the more they build their online presence, the more leverage they give to their organization they work for, right? So
Right.
if they're elevating their reputation, that organization is going to go right up with them. So if I have attorneys who are, you know what, we work 9 to 5. We don't have our law firm. We're just working for a law firm. I'm like, well, you need to have an online reputation, because they need to trust who they're working with, right? So whoever is the founder and owner or partner of a law firm, they should invest into their employees and make sure that they have an online presence as well, because that just adds more to the credibility and the visibility, and then turns into profitability.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you have me thinking way too much today. um, if you do take your employees and, I like the way that you put the 9 to 5ers and they start to build their presence online. And even if your employer isn't involved, you become an expert, and then you start looking for a different job or different career, and you've got this presence, and people can go back and figure out who you are.
Exactly. There you
Yeah.
go.
Now it's all coming together for me.
I'm glad. I'm happy that I can be here and give you a few nuggets.
Yeah, that was perfect. I think as I'm talking to my female friends, or actually it doesn't even matter, female or male, about talking to them about building their presence online and doing videos and sharing the things that they just have learned throughout their life experiences, and how they can help people, because you just never know who you're going to touch.
Right. And it's about bringing value. If you're someone that really values that, and you think that you can help someone else, because it's not about just being a CEO, it's about uplifting others along the way. If you're really passionate about that, then you should definitely hone in on how to create a very strong personal and professional brand.
Okay, so if somebody wants to work with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can go on my Instagram or LinkedIn. There is a consultation link. You can just get a 15-minute consultation. I can give you an audit, or my team can give you an audit of your online presence. And then, we can answer a few questions, see if we're a good fit. Not everyone is a great fit for PR, as
Hmm.
I can say, because if you don't have the ambition as well, because the thing is, Paula, at the end of the day, I can't hold your hand through everything, right? I'm not a coach to make you be accountable, right? It's about, you need to be ready to take action, because if I send you questions to answer, if the journalist is asking for a storyline and you need to answer it, you got to be on top of it. So if your brand matters to you, make sure you stay on top of it, and that's when you're ready to hire a PR firm.
And what's the name of your book?
Be epic. It's a
Be
one word
Epic.
acronym. Hmm.
That's awesome. I have really learned a lot from you today. And I know that I'm going to be thinking about you and my
Thank
own branding for the
Yeah.
next few days, because that's typically how my brain works. Like I probably get off the phone and start really analyzing my stuff, but um, very interesting. And I like
Thank
that
you.
you could bring it down to, again, I like that term, the 9 to 5er, and have a way of having them just maybe putting them ahead of the rest of the 9 to 5ers in building
And
their brand.
absolutely. And speaking of 9 to 5ers, actually, they joined my challenge in January. I had a 21-day personal brand building challenge, and I still have it. It's a continuous, but in January, I had 50 people join me.
Wow.
They were professionals, founders, 9 to 5ers, freelancers, and I taught them how to build a brand in 21 days. And that propelled them forward. And I do this every month now because there was such a demand. And it's 21 days. It's an amazing, I mean, the price point, you can't beat the price point. And if anyone is listening to this, they can go on Eventbrite and just put in ZavoMedia or Liana Zavo, and you'll see all the events. There's also media training that I do. I partnered up with a CBS TV anchor, and we train you how to speak in front of the TV, how to speak in sound bites, how do you create a very compelling narrative. We really hone in. It's a 2-day boot camp. So there's a lot that we do in order, if you're, a lot of times you don't want to invest into PR for like 6 months, 12 months, or 2 years, right?
Hmm.
So if you do these type of boot camps or just like challenges, that gives you an idea of what to expect and how to propel your brand forward. So that's what I did. I gave you a low hanging fruit to give you a taste of my brand, because then if you want to invest further, you can. But I think it's fair. It's fair to say that you need to try it a little bit before you actually invest with me.
Okay, so we'll put that in the show notes, that link to your Eventbrite.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I appreciate
Amazing.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for
You're
having me.
welcome. So if anybody would like to reach out to me, you can email me at paula@paulachristine.com.